Alright, so this one was a request, so I'm going to try to be a little gentle, but I'm really not sure how I feel about Big Hero 6, the series. I liked Big Hero 6, the movie, well enough. I thought it was pretty cute, had some really great interactions between some immediately likable characters, and some pretty interesting superhero action with some high-tech concepts that were pretty immediately attention-grabbing. And so I actually did tune in, not first run, like literally first run, I don't think, but I did tune in to watch this double premiere episode back when it first dropped. And I remember thinking that it was okay, but not really my jam. And going back to rewatch it, I was hoping that I'd feel differently, because I guess the show is ending or has ended, and people are having the feelings about that and wanted to hear me say nice things about it. But going back and watching these two establishing episodes for my Raiders of the Story Arc-esque 2 cents on the show, I really didn't take to it. Which is not to say that there's nothing good here, and I am going to talk about that to kind of round out the review. And it's not that this is like an inept show or anything. Like, a lot of this is just, you know, my personal tastes, I guess. But I also feel that there were some genuine deficiencies in this technically pair of episodes that was meant to introduce me to this series that are kind of objectively, if not bad, then mediocre. First of all, to go over the story of these couple of episodes, and just like these episodes, unfortunately, my description of the plot is very dependent on you having seen Big Hero 6, the movie. So if you haven't, I guess go watch it right now. I'll wait. Alright, that should be long enough. I'm kidding, obviously. But if you have seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, you should watch it. It's good. But basically, this couple of episodes tells sort of an extended version of the couple of clips and hints that we got from the very end of the movie, that not only did they restore Baymax after he was technically lost in another dimension or whatever that was. I can't remember the exact specifics. And also how and why the main characters continued to be superheroes following the events of the movie. And as far as introductory episodes go, that sounds great. Flesh out the little bit of epilogue stuff that we got in the movie to show immediately where this fits in the timeline, and then focus on something simple like the characters coming to some sort of status quo with this superheroing thing, right? But it wasn't that simple, and I think that hurt the episodes a lot, actually. First of all, it's worth pointing out that there are two things that I came to this show for when it first started. Two things I was looking forward to that were strengths of the movie, and I already mentioned them, and that's the slick superhero action and the interactions between the 6 main characters. And it's not as if these episodes don't do those things at all. It's just, there ends up being a lot going on here. First of all, the villain's plot in this episode involves taking advantage of a mistake that the main character hero makes, which isn't how I would start a series anyway. That's not the kind of plot that I would start a series on, honestly. But if you're going to start your series on a plot like that, then I really feel like it should be the entire focus of the opening story arc. And here it wasn't, because it was also supplemented by the majority of the main characters not wanting to do the superhero thing anymore, despite the fact that they saved a lot of people, including someone who was thought lost forever, by being superheroes in the first place. These are characters who go to a super high-tech future science school because they want to do stuff to help people with technology. That's like their whole thing. And here they are arguing against doing exactly that. It just didn't work for me. And because there was so much else going on in these two episodes, it meant that any time we saw these characters interacting with each other, it wasn't an action scene or just them hanging out together in the background a couple of times, I guess. They are pretty much exclusively talking about whether or not they're going to continue to be superheroes. The fun, witty, and charming repartee between them is just not here, and it's replaced by them arguing against doing the other thing that I came to this show to see them do in the first place. And that's not to say that there's no superhero action in this pair of episodes. There is, for sure. And it ends up being pretty much the best part of this little debut arc. And I wouldn't say that it's too little too late or anything, that it felt like the action was too little too late, but it almost did. Like, I'd be very close to checking out each time the action stuff started to roll around, and it caught my attention again. And straight up, this is 2 22-minute episodes of television. That shouldn't be happening here. Looking at it, what I would have done here is I would have done what the show wanted to do here and focused on the hero makes a mistake and lets the villain further his plans sooner than he otherwise would have plot that drove most of the conflicts here. Using some of the time that was spent having the other characters talk about not wanting to be superheroes anymore to find clever ways to recap what happened in the movie so that you can watch the show without having seen the movie, and then otherwise just having the characters interact with each other as much as I possibly could in the rest of the allotted free time, freed up by excising that other plot from these episodes. I maybe would have had the characters mention offhandedly that they're still kind of trying to do the superhero thing, but nothing's really been happening. And then the stuff with Hero all happens. They have the couple of action sequences that they did here to fix it, but a lot of damage is still caused. Damage that might not have been caused if Hero hadn't made the mistakes that he did, trying to bring Baymax back sooner than he otherwise would have been able to. The entire driving force of this conflict is that Hero doesn't take the time that he needs to do a proper diagnostic on the new Baymax, and so he runs wild and the villain ends up getting his technology. Maybe work in there somewhere that one of the reasons that Hero is anxious to get Baymax back is because he doesn't really have superhero abilities without Baymax and he wants to help more. Or something along those lines. And then in the next episode, episode 3, you can do the reluctant superheroes thing, because now the other characters are like, oh hey, Hero, the haste with which you tried to get back into doing superhero stuff with us caused a lot of damage. Maybe we shouldn't be doing this. Right? I feel like that works a little bit better. It lightens up these episodes a little bit and gives the characters more room to breathe. I also found it very annoying that the character Fred, the comic relief character, in case you don't remember the characters' names or whatever from having seen the movie, it was annoying to me that the character Fred, because of course he would, really wanted to keep doing the superhero stuff. So he was the one arguing that they should still be doing the superhero stuff. And in order to facilitate that, they either had him arguing with the characters who weren't Hero and Baymax, or just kind of talking at Hero and or Baymax. And so the episode ended up leaning really hard on his personality for comic relief. And while I liked the character, his use in the movie was balanced with the use of the other characters, right? In this, though, there's so much of him all at once for a while that he gets kind of grating. Once they're all interacting with each other again, though, he gets better, making me think that the thing that these episodes were lacking for me primarily were just those interactions between the characters, those more downtimey, friendly interactions between the characters, ones that show their personalities a little better, both individually and in terms of how they all contrast with each other. Like, my favorite character is Go-Go. I just have a soft spot for wry and sarcastic, badass girl characters, right? And we get practically nothing of her in these episodes. Isn't her just chastising anyone who wants to continue doing hero stuff, which incidentally is also what Wasabi primarily does in these episodes, and Honey Lemon also does in these episodes, and even Hero for a while too. In an episode where so much was going on, and it felt like they really should have scaled things back, the interactions between the primary characters got to a point where they even felt kind of repetitive. Unnecessarily so. It's a weaker story than I feel like it could have been for the episodes meant to hook the show's audience. I also just don't like the animation style in this one. Like, I'm going to compare it back to when I talked about Tangled the series relatively recently. I mentioned in that review that I wasn't really sold on the art style until I saw it in motion. For this show, though, I like the art style better when it's static. I didn't feel like it worked in motion at all, except sometimes during the action scenes, and on Baymax himself. But that's not to say that I feel like this is a technically bad show, like I said earlier. It's fine, and I could definitely see it improving. There's a mystery element set up by the plot of this couple of episodes that I could see going a couple of interesting places. The world is still interesting, the characters are still likable. I even like the new character of the new teacher, or the new dean of students. I guess she's not really a new teacher, she's just the new dean of students, and also a teacher. I liked her a lot. Baymax is still endlessly charming, and the action stuff was pretty good. I could definitely see this show shaping up to be something pretty great down the line. It's just, this is twice now that it hasn't managed to hook me. I have a lot going on right now. I really need to budget which shows I really commit to watching, and I just don't feel like this is going to be one of the ones that I spend a lot of time on. But a lot of people really seem to like this show. So even if it's not my thing, I'm still really glad it got made. Even if I feel like it could be better, I'm still glad it exists for the sake of those people. And of course, as per usual, I'd like to know, what do you guys think of Big Hero 6, the series, if you have seen it? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, if you could, please like the video and share it with anyone else you think might enjoy my content. I'm trying to get myself out there, and I'd really appreciate it if you guys could help. But either way, that has been my 2 cents on this topic. This has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.